Hey guys, welcome to another episode of KOKO'S World. We are stepping into a conversation today that I truly believe is going to touch every single one of you. This episode is called Perseverance in the Storm, and when I say today's guest embodies that in every sense of the word, I truly mean it. She is someone I deeply admire, not just from her titled mother, grandmother, wife, author, cancer survivor, but for her strength, her spirit, and her ability to keep going no matter what life has placed in front of her. Her journey hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. Becoming a parent in her early teens, walking through life with responsibilities most of us couldn't even imagine, and still finding a way to rise, to grow, and to pour into others is something that we need to see more as a community of women. We're able to conquer all things that we truly put our minds to. Today, we're not just hearing her story, we're learning from it. We're talking about it, what it really means to persevere. So if you're in a storm right now, or you've ever questioned your strength, this conversation is truly for you. Help me welcome my dear friend, Tawanda Jones, aka Tike, who is a devoted mother, grandmother, wife, inspiring children's book author, breast cancer survivor, and entrepreneur. She is passionate about inspiring others to embrace authenticity, resilience, healing, unity, and most of all, to keep going. Hello, Tike. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
I am honored and so grateful that you chose to be a part of KOKO'S World. And before we get started, I always allow my guests to just share one thing or two things that I did not throw out there to the audience to get to know you a little bit better.
Well,
It's okay.
well, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up, but besides all of the seriousness, I'm just goofy just living life and enjoying my grandkids.
Well, that's what life is all about. Finding the little pieces. I have a cup that says it's the little things that matter. And I truly believe that. I try to find the smallest things in every day just to find gratitude in that.
Right. And that's friends, family, and just living every day.
Yes, it is. So are you nervous?
I am very nervous.
You have nothing to be nervous about.
I keep saying it's just Carly.
It is. It's just me.
It's just Carly.
I'm going to have bloopers. I'm going to say things. I'm going to make up words. And you know what? The listeners know by now, Carly, we don't care. We're just here.
Okay.
Well, so release your jitters.
It's okay to be my goofy self.
Yes, of course.
All right.
This is so unserious.
That's what you're going to get today.
Well, we want to get you. Okay. Authenticity, 100%.
All
Nothing
right.
else. So today we're going to be talking about perseverance. So tell us a time in your life or your journey where you've had to persevere the hardest, I would say.
Well, as a Black woman, I have to overcome a lot. But what stands out to me the most, I would say the teen pregnancy, the breast cancer, and choosing to walk away from a job that I was at for 15 years. So I would say those stand out the most.
Okay, so we're going to have to unpack some of this because I'm like, I wasn't ready. So you left a job that you was with for 15 years.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I worked my way up, because of having a child at a young age. I didn't get to go into college like regular high school graduates. So I was looking for stability. And in that company, I was able to work my way up, all the way up to like a regional quality manager where I was traveling Dominican Republic, different places,
a girl foreign.
Right. So I was excited about that, but I would say a minority in the company in which I was one of two Black women at a table full of, I would say white men. And I was one of the youngest. Okay. So when they were choosing to walk away from the regional roles, they were giving me the option to take another role, but a $20K decrease, but doing the same thing. Because they had to do away with the regional titles.
Okay, but did everyone get that decrease?
No.
Oh yeah, hell no. We gonna leave.
Right. So I didn't kiss butt to get that far in the company, and I wasn't about to take something like that.
Yeah.
I had my dignity at the end of the day. Yeah. So I chose to walk away. I said if I was able to work my way up here, I can do that somewhere else.
Yep. Well, I want to say, one, I never heard this story. So congratulations for you choosing yourself, because I feel just from my own experience in corporate America, in being a minority, one, being in spaces where it's ran predominantly by white men,
right?
You feel as if your voice isn't valued, or if you do speak up and stand for yourself, then you're ostracized, or you're kicked out, or you're talked crap about. So it takes a lot of courage just to say, like, listen, I'm going to stand. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I'm going to stand for what feels right in today's moment, because you only have one title, which is your name.
Exactly.
And your character and your dignity. And if you allow people to step over that, then that's where you kind of walk through life feeling like you can just be a punching bag to everybody.
Exactly.
So I'm very proud of you for doing that. And then becoming a teen mom. So we're going to talk about it a little bit down the road, but how did that, like, persevering through that, just give us one little example. We can talk about it now if you would like.
We can let's get into it.
Okay.
Well, I was a little nerd,
Yes.
and I was, it was those elementary, middle school relationships. We were together 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Wow. Y'all were locked in.
We were.
Did you have a promise ring? Because at this point,
girl,
he should have gave you something.
I had chocolates.
I need the moon ring.
But Summer going to the 9th grade, 6 one time got pregnant.
That is cool. Yeah. But at least you got a blessing out of it, but I'm very sorry about that.
Exactly. And what was crazy was my mom had me on a tight leash, and she let me go with my friends this one time and to meet up at the movie theater, and he showed up with his brother, and
it happened.
That was that night.
So how did that moment how was the rest of your high school experience?
I went from someone being responsible for me to me being responsible for someone overnight.
Yeah.
So I wasn't able to do what normal teens did.
Yeah.
Things as small as walking around the mall wasn't important to me. I was more worried about finishing my paper to turn in on Monday morning. So they weren't interested in that. And when I finally got time, they wanted me to bring my son like it was a baby doll to carry around. I'm like, girl, no, like I got a babysitter. Let's go.
Yeah.
But so I was just on another level from most of my friends at that point.
Did you experience any level of shame or, I don't know. So my mom was a teen mom and she had to go to an alternative school. I don't know if you watched that episode, but so you had to go.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did go through a lot of shame. That's why I hid it until I was almost 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
I hid it. I only went around a couple of people, with my grandma being the main person. My mom, my grandma, and one of my friends, Keisha, her mother, I would go around, and my godmom. But I stopped going to church, and I was in church with my grandma like every Sunday since I was like 6. And she was just praying over me, like, you're not gonna be the first girl to get pregnant, and you're not gonna be the last. Just this is when you need to pray.
Yeah.
So I didn't go back to church until after I had him, but I kind of wish that I would have, because I did need it at that time. But that's why I hid from around a majority of people, because of the shame.
Yeah. And I mean, do you think just because of the love that your family, poured over you, that you were able to persevere that? Like, what helped you stay true to yourself and conquer, to be a mom? I mean, because that's just a lot of responsibility at such a young age.
It was a lot of responsibility, and I would say that I had a village.
Yeah.
A lot of teen moms don't have the village that I had. And at the time, I didn't know how big it was. But today, I realized that I was able to do what I needed to do, like go to school, go to work. My mom wasn't babysitting for me to go sit at somebody's house and laugh and eat candy and all that kind of stuff. No, I was able to graduate. I was accepted into North Carolina A&T the day before I was supposed to go to college. I chose to stay with my child. So it was not your normal childhood, but I wasn't your average teen parent either.
Right.
You know, I read.
You was a nerd.
I read books
You had
on
your
teen
priorities.
parents. I went to classes. I watched a lot of Super Nanny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love Super Nanny.
Listen,
I feel like the world would be a lot better if it was
me.
still on TV.
Yes, I tell people that all the time. And so that was mostly what I did. Yeah.
So, and how did like your early adulthood? So, getting out of high school, choosing not to go to college, you joined that company, I'm assuming around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, raising your son, how was that going, you know, first day of kindergarten, probably being a lot younger than most of the parents, and going into high school, him going into high school, how was that like compared to most parents? Because a lot of people are a little bit more successful by the time that their kids go to high school. So how was that journey for you?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the hardest things to me, being a teen mom and around a lot of adult parents, thinking that they knew what was best for your child more than you do. And making me feel less than. But when it worked out the way that I wanted it to work out, they wanted to take credit for it. So that's what I went through. And because of my age, when he would walk into a classroom, you know, they're like, "This your son? I mean, this your brother?" No, this is my child. I brought him here. I paid for these clothes, you know? So yeah, that was one of the hardest.
Well, I just commend you, because one, being from Greenville, South Carolina, it is not as conservative as some places of South Carolina, but I do feel that just based off of what I've experienced with police and being viewed weirdly of, you know, being so close in age, but like having to have this title, I didn't naturally have her. So I'm like, being you naturally having a baby and people probably looking at you the same way that they used to look at us, I can only imagine. And also knowing and having the confidence to say, like, listen, I'm working my ass off day and night to literally provide, and you're gonna put some respect on my name, period. Like, don't sit here and question. And that's the other thing. People, stop asking questions. Like, just see something and mind your business.
That's it.
Look the person up on Facebook. That's free also. And it'll tell you the whole story of what's going on. Stop asking people questions and stop being in people's business. So back to you. We had to make that announcement.
You had a moment?
Yes, because people be in people's business and you don't know the story. So like, just chill and be grateful that this individual is thriving. It doesn't matter what the situation is.
He showed up to school clean every day.
And he's respectful.
And very much so.
Yep. And you did a great ass job. I'm very proud of you. So they always say women can't raise men. And I think that you have a very respectable and respectful son. I have met him. He's in the military, and we thank him for his service. And I know that you had your village, but I want to primarily focus on you and the strength that you had to show every single day to make him not only believe that he was strong and could conquer anything, but also strong enough to be able to see him and send him away to a country that right now, unfortunately, don't give a damn about the people that are serving it. So how was that?
I knew what I wanted in a father, and I knew that I had the world's greatest father. Y'all, I have the world's greatest father. Hey, Daddy. And he was a huge role model in my son's life. So I had that to mirror. My daddy was, let's just say, I have to speak on this. My daddy would walk to come spend time with me.
Wow.
So to this day, I would tell Trey, it's not about the money. With his kids today, I would tell him, they will never remember how much you spent on them, but they'll remember the time you spent with them.
This podcast is brought to you by MJW Photos Studio, a professional headshot and personal branding studio creating clean, high-quality imagery for professionals and entrepreneurs. If you're ever interested in booking Michael for a professional headshot or company headshot, feel free to reach out at www.mjwphotos.com or through Instagram at MJW Photos CLT.
And that's how my daddy was. I remember all of the small things. I'm gonna cry.
It's okay.
But no, I'm okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had my daddy as a role model, and I knew what I wanted as a father, and I knew the type of man that I needed him to be. So I would always encourage him, laugh with him. I would be normal. I would let him see the real, be honest about bills. And I think that humbled him. He was never into shoes and clothes and all the expensive things. I was more into it. Like, Trey, you don't like these Jordans, He was okay with some slides and some basketball shorts and a book bag. And I'm like,
we just love that, son.
But he's still like that to this day. And I love that for him. I really do love that about him. And I think that I would have to say that my daddy had a huge impact in his life.
And do you mind, like, just to some single mothers that are raising sons, what are 2 pieces of advice or just some couple things that you remember that if you could do it all over, like from your dad, pouring those values into Trey?
Well, one thing that I would tell parents that are raising sons or teen parents in general,
yes,
stop worrying about providing and focus more on the time. I was on go so much. I wasn't able, Trey played all of the things, all of the sports. And I showed up to not as many because I was always on go. I was going to school, I was working. So, I wasn't those places. And when he talks about it now, it hits me. It's like, darn, I didn't know that he would remember all of this. I was at some of the games, but he only remembers the ones that I wasn't at, not knowing that I was probably working 2 jobs or I was trying to go to school or I was always doing something.
Yeah.
But reach out to the men for mentors, keep them busy. The more you keep them busy, they don't have time to focus on what's in the streets.
Yeah.
And I always kept Trey busy because my brother was in the streets and I knew I didn't want him to become a product. So I had to keep him busy. So I knew what I didn't want and I just went off that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to just leave that there because you're exactly right. All of those key points I agree with, because I think that today's society, unfortunately, especially our culture, a lot of women are raising kids on their own and they don't lean in on the village or the community. Part of that I understand because the world we live in is cruel, but I also feel that we have to find, those AAU coaches or the people within the school systems and say, you have to kind of be vulnerable and just allow people to kind of show you whether or not they're for you or not. And I know that Shelby and I, we had to rely on this one particular AAU coach, Coach Bethany, and I'm forever grateful for her because sometimes somebody else can reach your child more so than you can.
Yes.
So thank you for those words of encouragement. So as we all know right now, our government is all about like pro-life. And one thing that I want to talk about today is because you decided to make a valuable choice to become a mother. But what are your viewpoints on, if you don't mind sharing, on pro-life or pro-choice and to young women today that are, having to be considered murderers at a young age if they chose to, do the alternative route than becoming a mom?
Well, I'm going to say this. My beliefs are my beliefs, and it's not to downplay anyone else's beliefs. Just like I chose to have my son at 14, doesn't mean that someone else has the same circumstances that I had at that time.
Correct.
So I support them having a choice. If it's all about what they have available for them, and you have to think about what that child will come into. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I support having a choice to make that decision on your own.
I agree. I think all women should just have the choice. And even though, yes, it takes 2 to tango, I don't mean any harm, but the other part of the tangoing, that's not your choice. Because unfortunately,
that's just the way the world works.
And a lot of the times we're stuck with being the responsible party or the responsible figure, and it's disheartening. And I think that, it should just be left to the actual female.
And I did have that issue. And that's part of the reason why my hatred at a young age for his father was the way that it was. But that was a 14-year-old me.
Right.
It's different now.
Okay.
But I feel that I had to sacrifice a lot more than what the other party had to sacrifice. Yes. I cared more about my academics than the other party. And he dropped out, or he, and I had to worry. When I showed up at school and I said my child ate my homework,
that's what
he
you
literally
truly
ate my homework. I wasn't playing. Give me one more day. I'll bring it back, But I was mad because I'm like, here I am trying to get my diploma and you dropping out. You playing games. I don't like you.
And literally you had to just conquer and persevere a whole lot more.
Yes.
I mean, realistically.
Yes. Yeah.
If there's a young lady who's facing motherhood right now at a young age, what would you share with her?
The raw, honest truth. It was hard. It was very hard. I think that I created a selfish person in myself because I had so little to work with. And my parents I did not just have a baby. I became a mother. My parents did not just do all of the things for me. I had to tap into my responsibility and I had to make it happen. I had to show up for him and myself. So it was hard. It was hard, especially if you cared about your future. It's not about you anymore. From that day forward, all of the decisions you make are for you and this little human that you have following you. And if you cared about that little human, you're not going to just be leaving them with random people. So you have to make decisions for the both of you.
And I just drew a blank. I don't remember what I was going to say, but you're exactly right. You're no longer the priority. They are. What is the question I was asking? I have no clue. It'll come back to me in just a second. But when you sit back and you think about, that was a question, how many young girls think that having a baby is going to keep their partner around? And it's like, okay, so you're doing this just because of the partner, but then you grow and gain resentment towards this child. How do you feel that affects the mother, but also affect that child long term?
First of all, girl, wake up. Because why? Why? Listen, I learned my lesson early when I couldn't get sitters to do the things. I was like, I'm staying on birth control. None of the decisions that I made was because of this person, because he's going to grow and he's going to move on and he's going to be able to do all of the things. But you have this child that's with you 80% of the time. So no. And then the child needs functioning adults in their life. So if this person is not there 100% of the time, they're not going to be there through all of the traumas and all of the conversations, the conferences at schools. It takes more. I would say that Trey reminds me of myself when he was going through school. So he cared a lot about school, and I was there majority for all of it. And that was hard. I would have to leave school, leave work, come to the school I remember one time just talking about it. He was upset because the guidance counselors told him that the scholarships were for the seniors, and he was starting the 11th grade. Okay. And it hurt his feelings because he's like, "Are you just gonna turn me around like that?" He was like, "Mom, I'm trying to get a scholarship. She turned me around." And I felt that because you got a Black man that's coming to the guidance office to ask about the scholarships and you turn him away. I didn't want to leave school, so I called his father, like, you need to go up there. Like, I don't like this. He was like, girl, really? Really?
So he didn't go?
No, but I left. Okay. And I showed out on purpose. Real bad.
I mean, rightfully so.
Because it wasn't about the scholarship at that point.
It was about showing up for him.
Yes. Yeah. You don't turn him away. If he goes to the streets, then he's going to be a problem.
Correct.
But he's coming to you for a scholarship.
Yep.
I don't care if you have one pamphlet to give him. You need to give it to him. Yep. But yeah.
Did he get the pamphlet?
Girl, he got so many.
Oh, period. That's why I say when you advocate for your kids, if you don't do it, no one else will. So, moving down, and I don't know how old Trey was when you were diagnosed with cancer, but when you transitioned of being a mom, working full time, I'm not sure what age group he was in, but I'm assuming it was right around 18.
Yes, it was his first year of college.
First year of college. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk about first that just of knowing that he has so much life to live and you've persevered through becoming a mom at 14, graduating high school, not being able to go to college or making the choice to not go to college, to choose your son, and then getting him through all of school and working your ass off and then getting this horrible diagnoses and uncertain of what tomorrow's going to bring. How was that journey?
That was rough. Because when I found my lump, I thought about two things, death and my son. And I knew, I was like, oh my God, he is not going to want to go to school. He's going to come right back home. So I had to make a decision for myself at that point to not tell him. And because I didn't want him to find out, there were other people that I couldn't tell. So I had to, it was only a handful of people that knew, all because I didn't want it to get to my son. Wow. So I had to be completely normal. And I did all of that because I didn't want it to get to him.
And how long did you keep it from him?
So my last day of chemo was on his birthday. While I was getting my last chemo treatment, I was literally on my pad typing out a Facebook post. That my gift to him was a letter. I wrote him a letter and I sent it to him the night of his birthday, and I asked him if I could post it. After he read it and everything, and we talked about it.
And how did that go? If you don't mind me asking.
He was a little upset with me, and I understood why, because he remembered times when he would come home and he would see like pamphlets. So just to give you a little history, I have 3 aunts that survived breast cancer. Okay. So when he found those things in the house, I was able to say, oh, I went on a walk with auntie. Okay. Or, oh, it was because of this. Mm-hmm. But deep down, he felt as if something was wrong. He just couldn't really put his finger on it. Mm-hmm. So he was a little upset with me. But I explained to him, okay, would you have finished the semester if I would have told you? Probably not. Right. Exactly. I succeeded. My goal.
And so when he did find out, was he more, I would say, protective or making sure that, he knew what was going on? Or did he go to school for the second year? How did that go?
He finished 2 years before he went into the military. Okay. He did, but I think it brought us closer because when he would come home, he would be with his friends and stuff like that. But then he went to wanting to lay at the bottom of our bed or have conversations. He would call me, what you doing, Mom? To this day, 9 years later, we just talk on the phone about a bunch of nothing. So I think that it changed both of us.
Yeah. And so during your journey of, going through the treatments and all the things, can you share with us just a little bit of what helped you continue your momentum? Continue to persevere.
I would say my son. I'm going to keep saying my son because as a young parent, I wasn't able to do I would say I slacked in certain areas because of my age. And me beating cancer and the person that I am now, my goal is to try and fix some of those things that I wasn't able to do, and doing that with his kids as well, and showing him how he can do all of the things with his kids at that age that I couldn't do with him. So me continuing to move forward is him.
Yeah. And just during your journey, like, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing.
Yeah.
During that journey, what are some things that you taught to yourself? What encouragement did you pour back into yourself just to continue that fighting the good fight, keeping your mental good?
Okay. So when I first found my lump and I went to the doctor and it was all of the things was proven to be cancer, I had a conversation with my wife and I was like, I have to tell my mom and my dad. So those were the next two people that we told. And one conversation that made me, because before I had this conversation with my father, I was a zombie. It was like an out of body experience. I would be talking to you and I wouldn't hear anything you were saying. But my daddy sat beside me and he was like hugging me and kissing my forehead. And he was telling me how, Tike, I wished I could do this for you. I wish that it happened to me instead. And me being a daddy's girl, I couldn't picture it being my daddy rather than me. I would die 10 times for my daddy. Right. So I was like, oh, heck no. I'm going to beat this. I'm about to fight this. That gave me a burst of energy. I was a totally different person after that. I showed up at work in my regular heels. You would never know anything was wrong with me. I continued. I was vulnerable at home with my wife, but no one else knew what I was going through until I released that Facebook post.
Wow. And it was the last day of your chemo treatment?
It was the last day of my chemo treatment.
Okay.
I remember one person at work that I was close to. I always wore a bob cut, straight hair bob cut. And I showed up at work one day with a lace front on. And he came in my office. He was like, Tike, why? You gave me hope. And then you show up with one. But I'm the goofy person. I'm like, you don't like my hair? You don't like it? I cut my hair and I don't like it. He was like, well, I don't like that wig.
Once again, stop asking questions.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to wear it a couple weeks. You just going to have to deal with it. He was like, well, I still bring you coffee, but I'm not going to look twice.
Well, at least he was honest with you.
He was. And the Monday after coming back to work after that last treatment, he was the first person in my office because he didn't know what was going on with me. Okay. And he was crying. A grown man. He was crying. He was like, Tike, I had no idea. I was like, it's okay. I promise it's okay. He was like, I gave you a hard time about your wig.
At least he was honest. But
he was like, I can't. And he said, I thought about it all weekend. I was like, you stressed yourself out.
For no reason.
And I could care less.
Yeah.
I was fine. I really was, But he stressed himself out. But yeah, no one knew. No one knew.
So that leads me to the next $1 million question. Why do you feel women do not discuss it?
Because they're dumb. I mean, I'm just being
honest. No. Yes.
Black women have to do a better job. We should be screaming it to the rooftops. We should be able to have these conversations. We should be able to ask each other, did you do your self-exam? Have you had your mammogram? Like, how often do you do your mammogram? Do you know you're normal? Would you know it if it was abnormal?
Yeah.
And I would say that we have to question a lot more than what other females have of other races have to question it, because we have to advocate for ourselves.
Yep.
When we go into the doctor's office, they don't take us serious. Mm-hmm. Like, we are Black women, we're supposed to be strong, or we are exaggerating. And if we don't vouch for ourselves or talk to each other, then what can we do? We have to make these doctors do their jobs. Mm-hmm. I know so many people that have been turned away just because they say it's tissue or we don't need an ultrasound. It's just, you're exaggerating, you're worrying too much. And if I can't come to my sister and talk to my sister, who can I talk to?
Correct. We don't have each other. Who do we have on?
Exactly.
Well, and I do agree. I think that more women need to talk about it. You know, I am a little bit of a hypochondriac. Shelby gets on to me all the time because obviously when you are about to like go into, you know, your menstrual, your boobs kind of swell up.
Yeah.
And I like always feel, because I'm doing my exam,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling something. And I've even scheduled appointments. And my doctor, I'm grateful for her because she usually just sits down with me and she's very calm and she's like, Carly, you're just overreacting. It's okay today. But I like that because I know what my body needs to look like, feel like, and whenever I don't feel normal,
exactly.
And I think that more women should be. I don't know, like we only get one body. I don't know why people are afraid to touch.
Girl, touch yourself.
Correct, please.
Do it on yourself.
Yes,
they're yours.
I mean, if you don't do it, who's gonna do it?
I was 14. So my aunts, you know, I have 3 aunts that survived breast cancer. So all of the women on my father's side was taught how to do breast exams early on.
That's beautiful.
And I knew exactly when I felt it that it was not supposed to be there.
Wow.
And I was like, and so when, I just knew it wasn't supposed to be there. And I kept trying to talk myself out of going to the doctor. And because of my cousins that's gone through it, they wouldn't let me. So I ended up going to the doctor and everything. But you have to have those conversations with each other. Even after, you know, the cancer and everything, and I didn't want to give up the boobs because I was so young, and I did the lumpectomy. I went crazy in my head. Literally, I bruised myself up in the shower. It never goes away. And I had so many bruises on my chest to the point to where I said, okay, I got to have these taken off.
Yeah. So you could rest.
And it was a woman doctor that called the insurance companies to get it approved for me to have the double mastectomy.
You have to advocate for that too. Yeah. It's so crazy. You already have been diagnosed, you went through treatment, and then now you're having to have someone else fight for you to have it approved, when truthfully that should automatically be an option, you know?
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that you would like to share to women that are currently going through it, or that has went through it and are now having to just live every day? Hold on, before we ask that question, how do you live every day, 9 years later, not in fear?
I live day for day. Every day I'm blessed to be here. When everyone else is worried about the small things like bills or an argument or not wanting to go to work every day, I'm showing up at work loud and happy, and I'm getting on people's nerves when they're supposed to be mad at me because I don't care if they're mad at me. I'm making them talk to me anyway because it doesn't matter. It's small, you know. Someone always has it worse than you. Yep. And it's never that serious. So I just live day to day.
Day to day, yeah. I agree. You know, I try to live with a very grateful heart, because I'm like, you can drive down the road and see
something can happen.
Yeah, something can happen. Or you see someone that is walking and you're like, well, thank God I have enough money for gas and 4 wheels, you know? So, and as you know, I've had a lot of unfortunate deaths in my family recently. And one message that was sent, the pastor had spoke about the eulogy this past Wednesday, was, you know, life is too short not to just make things right. Like, you're going to go all these years and not speak to someone, but then come to their funeral or be crying, and you know good and well that you were not speaking to them just the day before they passed. Minor. And it made me like look, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're exactly right, exactly. Carly. Like, is there anybody that you on the block list? And I was like, actually, no. I'm actually, for once, not upset. I don't really get mad at people that often. I mean, it's not worth my energy, to be honest.
Just have a conversation. I think that if you're family, if you're friends, you should be able to have conversations and move past. Yep. Like, it's never that serious.
If they're truly
a friend. If they're supposed to be there, they're going to be there tomorrow. If not, then you smile anyway. You're here another day.
You're exactly right. Are you part of any organizations that you would like to shout out, or that helped you during your journey or that could potentially help other women?
I am not a part of any organizations, but I am a part of several social media groups.
Okay.
And I made my contact information public with my doctor, my oncologist, so
Okay.
that people that are diagnosed around the same age that I was, young survivors, they can reach out to me. I have people reaching out to me all the time, just to talk. Hey, I was diagnosed with such and such, such and such. Doctor such and such gave me your number.
Mhm.
Can I ask you a couple of questions? So I always make myself available, even if it makes me emotional. I feel like that's what I needed at the time. So someone else is probably going to need that. Somebody else may not have the aunts that I had to walk me through all of that.
Yeah.
So I just try to make myself available.
Also, I want to share the strength that it takes and the courage to reach out. You know, so many people are so afraid to say, like, oh, I'm the only person going through this. There's no one else that went through it, when there's been millions of women, especially. So having and advocating for more women to, I think there should be like a hotline. I mean, that women could call
That
just
is
to, like,
awesome.
as a therapy session or anything like that. And is there a young survivor group already?
There are. There's the Young Survivors Coalition on social media. There's Young Survivors Facebook groups. When I was diagnosed, I'll never forget this lady at the breast cancer center, Pearlie Harris Breast Cancer Center. She was actually not even a physician. She was walking me from one room to the other room.
Wow.
And she was like, "You're so young." She was like, just remember, you don't need those breasts. Yeah. She was like, and reach out to these social media groups. There's always somebody that you can talk to. Yep. And I hung on to that. Yep. So I remember leaving that day and looking for those Facebook groups, and just those posts, reading those posts alone, they were always so positive, and seeing everybody surviving, it made me feel so much better.
Well, I'm going to make sure that I put those in like the show notes. So for anyone that maybe you hear this and it resonates with you, you have some resources, but I do think we need to work on like a hotline or something. Maybe we're not going to put your number as the hotline, but we're going to figure out something.
We can work on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next up, you are a grandmother.
I am.
To 3 cutie pies. They are so adorable. Yeah. And how has that journey been?
That's a different type of love.
I know.
Nova, Aiden, and Mecca. I love them so much. And Nova is like a little mini me. She is like the girliest girl.
She is.
And which is crazy because, you know, Trey has them full time while their mother is on the ship.
Okay.
She's with him all the time, but she's still like paint my nails, do my hair, nana. Like she's the girly girl. But I love it because it's like watching yourself in little eyes, through little eyes, and they love just to hear them say, Nana, Nana, I love you so much, Nana. It warms my heart.
And which one would you say, or what do you see yourself in each one of them? What about yourself do you see?
I see the nerdy in me and Aiden, definitely.
I agree.
I see the bossiness in me and Nova.
Okay.
And Mecca, he's just so cute and he's just growing. I don't know yet, but I think that's going to be Trey.
Yeah, like, he looks
split image, everything. I think that's going to be Trey's split image.
Okay. And so how has watching your son now turn into a father, how has that, like, watching, you know, him evolve, how has that been for you?
I'm so proud of him. Like, I was so worried about him, and I don't know why, because he tells me all the time, he was like, you know what's weird? The stuff that I do, if a woman was doing, no one would question it, but because it's me, they're like, you're gonna do that by yourself? You have them? And they're like, he's like, they're my kids.
And
like,
he's a great dad.
What do you mean? Really good like, I'm doing it because they're my kids. Yeah. And there is a stigma where, you know, it's like normal for the kids to be with the mom and not so normal for the kids to be with dad. But I think that he is showing in his own way the world how it should be.
This episode of Coco's World is powered by Q Fitness with Carly, the place where confidence is built, bodies get stronger, and you're reminded that you can still own the room on your toughest day. Q Fitness isn't just a workout, it's a movement. It's a space where women show up to pour into themselves, shake off the stress, and tap into the version of themselves that's been waiting to shine. Whether you're dancing it out, lifting it out, or sweating it out, you're never doing it alone. If you're ready for a community that hypes you up, challenges you, and celebrates every win, then Q Fitness with Carly is where you need to be. Because when you step into the space, you're not just working out, you're activating your power. Join us and let's elevate your mind, body, and confidence one session at a time.
Yeah. You know, it should be normal. Yeah. It should be normal. And he's doing a great job.
I agree. You know, my parents had split custody. So I was with my dad every Wednesday, every other weekend, and every summer. And they got like equal days for like Christmas break. And I just remember people asking the same thing, like, she's a girl, she needs to be with her mom, and she needs to be this, she needs to be that. And I was very girly, but also, like, when I was with my dad, he kind of let me just be myself. So I was low-key a tomboy, and y'all probably don't believe it, but he couldn't get me in a dress, believe it or not. And but then, like, he would be like, your mom's on the way, so I'll have to put these little foo-foo, furly, like, socks on and my little cardigan. I had to like dress up all cute, and my mom would be like, how did you get that cut on your leg? And I'd be like, oh, you know, I just ran into something, lying like hell. No, my dad had me outside watching him cut grass and doing all the things he was doing, and I just thought I could do it. But then on the other hand, he would go in and let me like paint his nails. He was always bald, but he would pretend like he had hair. And we would have tea parties together, and he was like the best dad. Like, you know, he didn't care.
That's the stuff you remember.
Yes.
You know how many times I've tried to get a video of Trey doing Nova's hair. He's like, Mom, stop! Like, this is everything. This is a memory.
Yes,
he will not let me record it.
But the thing about it is, I think other men need to see that. You know, because reality is, a man or a dad isn't just being a good dad because he has a son and he knows how to throw a ball.
Right.
I think just as equal, if you have a daughter, you need to know how to relate with her, and doing her hair is important. This one story that I love telling people. So my dad was trying to wash my hair. When it was time for him to do my hair, my grandma always did my hair. But my grandma was somewhere. And so he was like, Carlisha, we got somewhere to be. You need to go in here and let me just wash your hair. So I was like, Dave, grandma washes my hair in the kitchen sink. And he was like, no, that is disgusting. My dad's a little bit of a germaphobe. So he was like, that is so disgusting. No, you're washing your hair in the bathroom sink. You know how small a bathroom sink is.
Like, how is that?
Girl, he had my head down in the bathroom sink. Water was everywhere. I'm screaming. I remember my grandmother running in her house, and she was like, William, what is going on? And he was like, I'm trying to wash her hair. Literally, it was a massacre in this bathroom. Wow. And if you knew my grandmother's house, that bathroom is so small. And she was like, you should have just waited until I got here. That baby, her hair is all tangled. Like, literally had it wrapped around the faucet. It was a mess. Literally a mess. He was never allowed to touch my head again. My mom literally would come to my grandmother's house, do my hair in the summertime, because she was like, William, you're going to destroy her hair. So, but I'm grateful for him because he at least tried. Right. But people would be like, there's no way you sitting here flat ironing her hair. And he's like, who else gonna do it? Yeah, like, you expect her just not to have her hair done?
Exactly.
So kudos to Trey, and kudos to all the men out there that at least try, you know, because there's
Nova is going to remember all of the times that you were showing your soft side for her as your daughter. So kudos.
So you're a grandmother, cancer survivor, you're a mom, you're a wife. First of all, Tike, you have conquered a lot. And now my girl is an author.
Yes.
So one, I want to know, like, where did the book come from? This is her book, Colors. And if you haven't already, we're going to have the whole link for you to be able to order it on the show notes. And also I will have a whole post about this promoting it. But so if you haven't already, you need to go ahead and order it for your child or for yourself. I mean, because some of y'all, we can learn a thing or two. Yes. But where did the book come from?
Well, first I want to say that I wrote 3 books in 2015, and this was one of them.
Okay.
And I just had them in my back pocket, and I just didn't want to rush it. I just didn't know what to do, and I don't think I had the proper guidance on how to publish it, and it was close to my heart, so I just didn't want to just throw it out there.
Yep.
But when I had the right people around me that, you know, were pushing me to publish it, I went ahead and published it. But Trey, when he was 3, he was just like Nova and Aiden. You know, you can have a whole conversation with them, and they can talk to
Very
you. Like, you don't
intelligent.
have to sugarcoat. You don't have to like say baby words or whatever you call it. Have a conversation, because they're gonna talk to you and tell you how they feel. So Trey came from a play date one time, and he was just pointing out everybody's shade or color in the house. He was like, Mama, you're black, and Grandma's black. Well, he called my mom Banya. Banya's black, and such is white. And I was like,
who taught you
Mom,
that?
Come here. Like, Trey, tell Mom what you just said. And
how old was he?
He was 3.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't have those type of conversations in my house. We didn't talk about stuff like that. So I knew it wasn't a conversation in our house, but he was able to tell us where it came from, and we got to the bottom of it. But for the rest of that day, it was more so me trying to turn that around into something positive.
Yeah.
And I was like, another thing about Trey is every time I read him a book, he was able to memorize the story, catch on to the message in the book. So I was like, why not write children's books with messages that actually benefit us as a whole, change the world? And I think that this is a conversation that we need to have with our kids before we let the world determine the type of person they are. So that they can grow up to be just overall loving humans, and without the background noise or worrying about what color someone is, just able to love limitless. And that's why I wrote the book.
1, I did not know that, and that is beautiful. 2, I genuinely think that it is so vital, and I love the fact. Can I pick it up?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the fact that you do not have a black or a white crayon on here. Because I just feel that society has identified black, brown, or white as like good, bad, right? Like, I remember having a conversation with Khalees because when she was in 4K, she made an inappropriate comment. I'm not going to repeat it here, but she made this inappropriate comment, and it was about her skin. And I was like, why do you feel that way? And she was like, I'm just not beautiful because of the color of my skin. And it broke my heart because I'm like, 1, that's not true.
Right.
2, whoever told you that, which we ended up having to get to the resource and break that down. But I was like, whoever told you that, they also were incorrect. And you do not ever, ever say that. And we had to start working on, self-help or affirmations and confident boosting type of conversations and practices. But I have realized, like, from my own aunts, because I was the first light-skinned grandkid on my dad's side. And for so long, they would always identify me as the white girl.
Yeah.
I'm not white.
See?
I don't even have a white mom. Like, so I'm like, why are we even bringing this up? On top of that, it made my cousins feel less than. And I'm like, why do y'all feel less than? Like, you're not the one getting picked on. Y'all are welcome in the house. And
you and my wife will probably relate on that.
Yeah. And it would be often where my aunts, I felt growing up, I was always the outside because I wasn't ever truly identified as being Black enough, even though I'm the one who they would call whenever somebody needed to fight.
Yeah.
And I wasn't qualified for like Black History Month. It's always a running joke that on the 14th is my last day of celebrating Black history.
Oh my God.
And I had these inappropriate nicknames that were truly hurtful and truly made me feel like I was an outsider, but it all came from, I guess, systemic racism.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I just am grateful that you've come up with this book, because I think that more people need to read it, especially from our culture.
Adults as well.
Yes.
I think that we spend so much time worrying about somebody's shade that we don't get to, we miss out on getting to know genuine humans that can make an impact in our lives and our children's lives. And they miss out on friendships because of how these adults were raised. And this is your chance to give your child something different. I went through a lot of that as a child as well. I don't think, and it was never outside of family. It was never when I went to school. I got so many compliments on my dark skin and, oh, you're so pretty. But when I was home with my cousins and stuff like that, that's when I heard, you know. So outside of just the friendships, it's family as well. Like none of that should matter.
And those conversations shouldn't happen. It's inappropriate.
It is very much inappropriate.
So where do you see Colors heading the next year, 3 years?
I hope, well, I'm going to say that it is going to happen. I want Colors in all of the schools. I just recently was able to read Colors to a class, and just to see them grasp the message. And one little boy I've been talking about since I left the school, he was like, well, we're all friends. We all play together. We love each other. And I was like,
that's what it's about?
Yes. You know, it just blew my mind. And I was like, does color matter? And they're like, no.
I love that.
So yeah, that was the goal.
And with your grandbabies, they all are different. And what do you hope your legacy with just this book and the series to come, that it leaves for them and their generation?
I don't want them to ever have to worry about not being accepted. I hope that they remember this book when they are making friends in school, or when they're friends with someone who's going through something color related. Remind them, be the purple and the yellow in the book, and tell them, hey, that doesn't matter. I'll be your friend. You know, remember this book when I'm gone, and carry that message with you throughout life.
So, I love that. And Tike, I just want to say, I'm very proud to be your friend. I believe that God places people in your life at a perfect time, and just through different things that I've had to endure just from the time that we've known each other, and even past experiences and us talking through stories. You've truly have been an inspiration to me. And you've also been a figure of an anchor in my life, because even when I've been uncomfortable to share certain things, you have made me feel comfortable to come to and be able to talk about it. So I want to say I'm just completely, utterly, like, I have the most respect, and I'm just so honored for you to be a part of the show. But I also want you to hear and be receiving these flowers, because it's so often that I see you cheer so many other people on, but you don't like really being complimented.
I really don't.
Yeah, you really don't. And you need to receive it, because you have been through so much.
I know.
And for you to still be standing here and smiling with your beautiful wife, and y'all live just this beautiful lifestyle together, and the impact that you're making. I mean, because the children are our future.
They are.
When Whitney Houston sung that song, or was it Michael Jackson?
It was Michael.
Thank you.
I knew what you meant.
Yes, thank you. That's why you're my friend. But when Michael sung that song, like, I always go back to it, because if we don't start with our kids, our future is truly in a disastrous place.
Yes.
And so, you know, I just want you to understand that this is groundbreaking for especially where America's at right now. It needs it. And I'm promoting, especially Greenville County. We're going to start with Greenville County. Greenville County, y'all need to go ahead and issue all the schools a copy. I have the contact to the superintendent, so we're going to email him.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Last question. We're wrapping it up. If there's anything that we have left off that you would like to bring up, I want to leave you the floor right now to do that.
Couple things.
Okay.
I just want to remind everybody that even though it feels like the end of the world with whatever you're going through at that moment, you're probably going through it because God is preparing you to deal with something bigger. And there's always tomorrow.
Yep.
Where's the big low?
Yes.
But yes, it's never as bad as it is in that moment. It can only get better, and don't give up. Another thing, me and my wife have businesses.
Mhm.
We have a cleaning business. Exclude Organizing and Cleaning Services, starts with an X, XCLOD, and Bougie Doll Creations. And you can find us on social media. And yeah,
I will tag all of their social medias in the show notes as well, so that you guys can have them. And anything else?
That'll be, oh, and I love you. And I'm so glad that we met you. I feel the same. We talk about y'all all the time, you and Shelby. We love y'all. And I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy you were here. This was easy, even though you were nervous at the
know.
beginning. It was a great episode. And I just want to leave y'all with this little journal prompt, just so that, you know, as we all know, this season, I'm, you know, hoping that you can have some time to reflect. And I know that this episode was it was a lot. Y'all were unpacking a lot, but that was the whole purpose of it. So I want to say, if there is one thing to take from today, is this: storms don't come to break you. Sometimes they come to just show you just how strong you've always been. The 3 questions that I asked that you ask yourself would be: what has this storm taught me about myself? Where have I already shown strength that I've overlooked? And what would it look like to keep going, even it's only one step at a time? Because baby steps are almost more important than trying to take leaps. So most of all, I hope y'all know that you are loved, and I hope that y'all find some time to remember to love yourself. Bye, y'all.